Hello and good morning to Faculty Series Podcast. Today we have the FCM session with me, Adam Daniel, your host, and Mr. Azizul, our guest today. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Let's get straight into this. Today's title of the podcast is Animation, the Industry of the Future. All right.
I always found that title a bit weird, right? The industry of the future. Uh, I'm not sure what they mean by that, but okay, there will always be a future,
There's always
yeah, for the animation industry. The future, industry of the future. I'm not quite sure what that means, right?
For me personally, I think it's like the industry, future, present, now.
All right.
All right, let's get on with the questions. So, question number one. What specific skills do students acquire through the animation program? Ooh,
What skills do they acquire? Basically,
specifically.
what do they learn?
What did they learn? Yes.
Yeah. Well, the animation program we cover basically the whole like production pipeline of animation, right?
Mhm.
So along the way, the students learn all the things required along the whole pipeline,
Mhm.
right? So it's basically every different stage of production, right?
Mhm.
So what do they learn? You could divide it into like two wider categories. One would be the the theory stuff, like design, understanding film language, cinematography,
Mm.
appreciation for like film studies and screenplay writing, right?
Mhm.
And then on the other side, you get the more like technical stuff. Like how do you do stuff? So things like modeling, texturing, rigging, animation, compositing, right? So it all comes together to hopefully provide the student with a rounded, like fundamental base, and they can figure out where they fit in, I guess, right, in that whole pipeline of producing animation.
Full pipeline of pre-production,
Yeah, pre-production, production,
and
post.
post-production. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. That's really
Right.
insightful.
I mean, the good thing about these skills is that most of the skills that you pick up right along these different stages, they are transferable between different industries. So they might not just be for animation alone. I mean, you could transfer them to virtual reality related work or for the games industry,
Game
right?
industries,
Because
yes.
a lot of the skills overlap,
Mhm.
right? Whether you're modeling characters or rigging props, right? Or painting or texturing landscapes, who knows?
Management skills too.
Hmm?
Management skills too.
Management skills too, yeah. Because glad you brought that up. Final year, right?
Yeah.
It's the year where they sort of like prepare the students before they go out
Mhm.
into the world. So it's more like you say, world related, right? Project management, soft skills, communication skills, prepping for pitches, how to
Pitching,
market
yeah.
your work and stuff like that. Yeah. Law, basic media law.
Yeah, media law.
Yeah.
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 All right. Let's go on to the second question. What are some of the challenges that students might face when entering the industry, and how does the faculty support them in overcoming these challenges?
Um, what kind of challenges do they face when they go out, basically, looking for a job? Uh, well, one would be how trends keep shifting, right?
Yeah.
Like the needs of the industry keep changing, the way people do things keep changing, and there's always like new disruptive technologies being introduced, like AI and the accessibility to software and
Similar
stuff.
to software.
Right. So
yes.
that's one hurdle they got to get past. Like when you graduate, are you relevant? Right. So one of the things we try to do to keep the students relevant is to keep them informed, right? Uh, Up to date with current trends, what's going on out there, what is the industry actually looking for? How do they do things? What are they in need of? Right. So we partner a lot with our industry friends as well and different companies. We invite them to give talks. We expose the students as much as possible to uh, like how people do things, what's going on, right? And of course, the second part of that is just to make sure that the students are capable, right? That by the time they get out, they are able to perform. Because the truth is, uh, when you have an industry like this and you have an amount of graduates, not just from this college, but from all other institutions as well,
Yeah.
like this, they're gonna fight for positions, right? So you
Yes.
gotta make sure that you stand out, that you are capable, that you do have something to offer. So we try to make them, yeah, as capable as possible, right, to fit in to whatever they want to do in the industry.
Imagine there would like per previous question
Mm.
where they find their own role, their own superiority in like either production, post production. They might be like good at like management, leading, rather
Yeah.
than I'm not actually good at animation, that type of stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's rare that you find someone who's good at everything, right? I
Yeah.
mean, the
Jack of
thing
all
I keep telling
trades.
our students is that you might not be good at everything, but make sure that by the time you get out, you are good at something,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
You are good at something. It means you have a place, you have something to offer, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, let's go to the next question. How do you see the future of animation evolving? And what opportunities do you foresee for aspiring animators?
How do I see the future evolving?
See the future.
Yeah. Um, well, things always change, right? And I mean, if you look at it way back, right, the only way to like get animation out to people was either through the screen, through the silver screen, like feature films and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
through broadcast TV or cable networks and stuff, right? But the way people consume their media now has changed. You got streaming services and the
Yeah.
internet, right? You got YouTube and private channels and stuff.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that really changes how things are done, for one thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? The opportunities available to what people can make to put out there.
Yeah, indie projects.
Yeah.
Stuff like
Yeah, indie projects, individual content creators, right?
that. Mm-hmm.
So who knows? I mean, how much more is gonna change, right? The one like good thing about this is that there is more opportunity, right? You
Yeah.
don't necessarily have to like end up with a big studio. You don't necessarily have to like form a company to put out something.
Mm-hmm.
You could just put the work out, and there is a chance that it will get seen or get made or something,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More opportunities for more people, I guess.
Yeah, sure. The internet has really opened up all these new avenues for people to sort of like market their own work,
Yeah,
while
marketing. Yeah.
cutting out the
Like
middleman.
getting out the middleman.
Yeah.
You don't have to do your own
Yeah.
marketing scheme. You're like, oh,
Mm.
be a little more hands-on.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and if you look at like current news and stuff, uh, feature film, the revenues are sort of like dropping,
I've
right?
seen that. Yeah.
And you got cinemas closing down and stuff,
Mhm.
right? Mostly because of the experience of direct to home stuff, like streaming services, direct to app or devices.
Disruptive technologies.
Yeah. So it's just the way people consume their media changes, and that changes how people do stuff and what they make, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, besides the tech disruptive stuff, that is one thing which I see is constantly changing.
Let's go on to the next question. What are some of the latest trends and technologies shaping the future of animation?
Oh, that's kind of like a sequel to the last question.
Yeah, sequel to the
Yeah.
question. Kind of spicy.
What was it? What technological trends?
Yeah, technological trends,
Well, you gotta talk about the big one, AI,
AI.
obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not only the animation industry; it is actually changing a lot of industries.
The entertainment industry.
Yeah, and not only
Quite a bit,
entertainment,
actually.
all sorts of stuff. Whether it's data analysis, whether it's marketing, right? I'm not gonna get into the how good is AI? Is it
Yeah.
hurting people or is it helping people? Because there are cases for both, right?
Yeah.
But it is a major factor in shaping how productions are made,
Yeah.
right? What jobs are available, what jobs are becoming obsolete,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing, definitely. Another technological trend would be availability and accessibility, I think, to tools, right? Because previously, if someone wanted to have some hands-on experience with, let's say, like 3D software or something, right, they would have to either pay a hefty license fee or an individual subscription,
Yeah.
right? But now there are things being made available for free, like Blender, right?
Yeah.
Completely free, available for anyone to learn. again, completely free.
Completely free.
Yeah, available for people to learn. So you have people who couldn't have access to these kinds of tools before, and now you got primary school kids, right, learning Blender, right? So they're exposed to all this stuff from a much earlier age.
Yeah, like
And-
that one Spider-Verse animator.
Yeah,
the
the,
kid,
the,
yeah.
the Lego dude.
Yeah, the
right?
Lego
Yeah,
kid, yeah.
And what else? I mean, along with accessibility to the tools, there's also accessibility to technology. For example, like it wasn't possible before, but now the idea of performance capture, right? Performance capture through like facial performance capture or body motion capture, people can do it at home now on their own phones with free software, right?
I've seen this myself too, yeah.
Yeah.
At first, I've seen it starting from like the iPhones, where they've had embedded technology for facial capture,
Yeah.
and I've seen people use it for like Unreal Engine like video games. And now I've heard some are using specifically iPhones for big production shows.
True. Yeah, I mean, it just opens up what people can do because the technology is available to them, right? And this isn't only limited to like performance capture. You have like LiDAR scanning, right?
Yeah,
I mean, 10 years ago, the average Joe wouldn't have access to a full-fledged like LiDAR
yeah,
scanner.
like this. Yeah.
Right, but now it's on phones. It's in your iPads and stuff, right? There are like depth cameras that you can purchase, from retail off the shelf. Uh, what else? There's photogrammetry tools.
Photogrammetry, yeah.
Right.
Free photogrammetry
Yeah.
tools that just uses images.
Yeah. Drones, right? You don't have to rent a helicopter anymore to get an aerial shot.
Yeah.
Right. So all these things are much more accessible. Things are a lot more possible for on the consumer level for people, right? And aside from that, there's sort of like I would say like a revolution, but a push for open source software.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, this comes back to accessibility, where there are alternatives for creative tools, which are completely free, open source. For example, like Blender is one, obviously. There's like Krita, right?
Yeah, Krita, yeah.
Yeah,
An animation and drawing tool, yeah.
yeah, it's an alternative to for Photoshop, right?
And I've heard now Blender is doing compositing development, so you'll be able to do VFX just directly in Blender.
Blender is a monster, right? There's a reason why it's one of the fastest developing and popular softwares out there, because it's like everything in one. It's 2D animation, it's 3D animation. You can use it for storyboards, for compositing, for tracking, for VFX, for motion graphic. It's like a whole package deal. Yeah. So yeah, all those things combined, right, are pushing what people can do, right, and who's doing it, right? Because it is a lot more available. It's not like all these tools and technologies are not just for like a specific group anymore.
Yeah, it's not like they're restricted. I remember back then, there was a video editing program that big Hollywood people would use that cost like 30,000 per year.
Yeah, you'd have to have your own editing suite. And
Editing suite, it needs
now you're
proprietary
doing it
hardware. Yeah.
on your couch with enough. Yeah, changes things. Yeah. Who knows how further it's gonna go?
Especially with mobile platforms too.
Yeah, yeah. You got as because computing power goes up for normal devices and stuff, it widens the scope of what you can actually do with them, right?
Mhm.
And when that happens, there's always some way that that the creative industry can make use of that as well.
Mhm.
Right.
That's pretty good. That's pretty insightful. Number 5, question number 5. Can you share any success stories of students who have transitioned from the faculty's animation program specifically into successful careers in industry?
Well,
We can start from the first, so that's from the earlier ones.
okay, we've been around for quite a while, over 25 years.
Yeah, 25
Right,
years.
so that's a big bunch of students, a long list of students who have gone out into the world to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There are quite a lot. I mean, okay, let's start with like
Let's just start with
the local homegrown people that most people have heard of, right? I mean, you got like Monster Studios, right, with their whole Bobo Boy and Mekamoto franchises.
Komodo,
WoW Studios as well, right, doing their Ethan Ali thing.
Jin Ali
Right.
thing, yes.
So these were like students who went out and founded the companies. Great success, right, for them, um, and which still employ a lot of our graduates.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you also have, I mean, besides those, we actually have a lot of companies out there who were founded by our animation alumni, right? And the weird thing is they range. Now, it's not necessarily animation studios. There are film production studios. There's VFX production houses. They're like smaller, like boutique, commercial, like broadcasting, motion graphic
Yeah, the motion
companies.
graphic ones.
Uh,
Now studios. I think I've seen a few where
Mm.
it was just a commercial. I mean, a commercial company, and then suddenly they wanted to push their own ads, push their own content to nowadays, because with the trend of social media,
Mm.
that's how they get customers nowadays.
Yeah. And yeah, we also have, I mean, a lot of our graduates end up in local, like multinational companies as well,
MNCs.
right? So I mean, we have a few of our kids working with Sony, the PlayStation Studios,
Yeah,
in Streamline Studios, let's say Polygon Pictures, right?
I know a few from Larian Studios.
Yeah, Valerian Studios as
Yeah.
well, right? Working on these like huge franchises that
Yeah.
everyone knows, on Star Wars franchises, on like Transformers franchises, Pacific Rim, Ultraman, Godzilla, God knows what, right?
Yeah.
And that's just on the animation side, right? And we have our students being involved in like game companies as well, right?
Mhm.
Working on Street Fighter, Assassin's Creed, Final Fantasy series and stuff.
Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate, obviously, right? So they ended up in a lot of places, right? And those are just the local ones. There are some who have gone overseas as well, right? Ended up in ILM, in Double Negative,
Yeah.
working on franchises like the Avengers, animating like Transformers and Black Panthers and God knows what, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them have gone pretty far, right? The good thing is that we still keep in touch with these people. So it's always a nice chance. Invite them back, give a small talk, share their experiences with their students. Right. So we are truly grateful that because of this history that we have, we've made a lot of friends, former students, current friends, who are not out there, which we can directly reach out to, share their experiences with the students, and hopefully motivate this new bunch to rise to greater heights.
Yeah, rise to greater
Yeah.
heights. And imagine it helps also in the students knowing what's up with the industry right now.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
industry isn't really that transparent.
that's true. Right. So you get the tea, basically, right? As much as they can tell us. But it's always good to know what's going on out there, right? What opportunities are available.
That's their expectations.
As well, like how good do you need to be? What is your point of readiness
Yeah.
for to be accepted, right, in these kinds of
Is
places?
your portfolio actually industry standard?
Yeah.
Let's go to the next question. What opportunities are available for students to showcase their work to a wider audience, such as film festivals or online platforms?
This sort of like goes back to what we were talking about earlier, how the internet has just like opened everything up for like the person making animation in his not in his bathroom, in his basement.
You could.
Yeah, technically you could just keep the iPad away from the bathwater, right? But yeah, I mean, now there are like specific places you can go on the internet, like Film Freeway, which
Oh.
lists out basically every major competition out there, right? It's an all-in-one place where you can get information on where you can send your work to get it seen, right? And I mean, besides film festivals as well, because your question was about how to make your work reach
Yeah,
a wider
reach out to
audience.
a wider audience.
A wider audience. I mean, of course, there's the effect of social media as well, right? How many people have gotten their work out there, right, and gone viral for their work and stuff, right?
Yeah, I've seen a lot on TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok or whether it's Instagram, right?
Mhm.
So you have an audience right there already of millions, right, who might come across your work. And of course, there's like YouTube as well, right?
Mhm.
Where you can actually set up your own like channel, right?
Yeah, practically your own
Share your work,
studio.
Yeah. So the good thing I mean, the thing that has really changed from let's say like 10 to 15 to 20 years ago is people can get their work seen a lot easier to a wider range of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without the hassle of like looking for promoters or distributors or whatever, right?
Getting your own producers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? It is possible.
It's still a industry thing to do, like getting producers and everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's still jobs for that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, but the these disruptive platforms, I guess you don't have to just be an animator too. You can be open source your work out to like being a VFX, do VFX for other people also.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like the internet
Yeah.
just provides opportunities for people to connect, to collaborate.
Yeah, freelance outsourcing.
Yeah, freelance outsourcing, right? You could. So there is a way to make a living without being attached to a company or studio, so right. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. Your question was about how to get your work seen. So,
Yes. See.
yeah. So there are many avenues for that.
Next question: how do you support students? Wait, have I asked that question before?
I think so. That was really like, what do we do to get them ready and stuff, right? Yeah.
How do you support students in networking and making connections with the animation industry?
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier,
mentioned that
right?
before.
Where I mean, besides reaching out to a former alumni to share stuff, because we've been around for quite a while, we have a good relationship with companies as well, right? So we can reach out to them and work out some collaborations, whether it's in the form of talks or workshops or studio visits or whatever. Yeah.
Number 8. What advice would you give to students who are considering a career in animation?
What advice would I give to students who consider a career in animation? The number one thing I would advise is do your homework, do your research, right? Find out like what actually goes into making animation and whether that's something you like to do and it's something you're prepared to do. Because there are so many people who like the idea of making animation,
Yeah.
but are completely unprepared for how much work goes into it, right? It's like the terrible assumption that the computer does all the work.
Yeah, the computer does all the work.
Yeah,
I click
no.
a button. Oh,
Yeah.
that's my whole animation.
Let's look for the menu and look for the make dinosaur button. Right? There's a lot of work, right? A lot of skill and a lot of fundamental knowledge which goes into producing animation, right? Not trying to scare anyone off here, but just to dispel the notion that it is easy, right? It does take time, it does take work, right? And it's up for people who are interested to going into this sort of like career path. Find out first whether that is something that appeals to them. That would be our first step, right? Don't go into it blind.
I imagine this also like separates what makes something an amateur animation and professional animation.
That just comes down to experience and practice, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, like anything else, the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
For the next question, what advice do you have for someone interested in pursuing a career in animation but unsure where to start?
Unsure where to start. Similar answer to the previous question. Do your research, right? If you're unsure where to start, I guess the first things to do would be to find out where you can learn it.
Mm-hmm.
A good place to start, again, coming back to the internet, would be, again, just off the top of my head, YouTube. Because the one big difference between not only animation education, but education in general, is that the resources are all available out there. You just have to look for it.
Just look for it.
Yeah. So that could be your intro point. Right? If they're unsure on, like they're interested, but they're unsure, right? Just going for a quick search, looking at those things, it will give you a good idea of what's involved, right? In animation production, whether it's something that you have an affinity for, whether it's something that interests you, right? And if it is, the next step would be to find out where can you learn this stuff, right? In a formal education
setting.
Because you can learn skills online, sure, that's true, but there are other aspects of this job which can't be imparted through like a screen, right?
Mhm.
You need people for that.
Yeah, people for that.
People, guidance, mentorship, like solid industry advice,
Mm-hmm.
right? And once you find those places, look up their history as well. What's their track record? What are their success stories? What do they offer, right? And whether it fits into your long-term plans, basically.
Imagine a good next step is joining MMU.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Foundation program is a good stepping stone, right?
Yes, the foundation program is always a good stepping stone for people who have completely no art background at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the one thing that scares people. You know, I want to go into animation, but I don't know how to draw. I don't know anything about film. I don't
never
know,
touch a
yeah,
pencil.
I don't even know how to set up a computer. Right. So the foundation is a good program to go through. It's sort of like a soft intro to basic skills you need, right? At least to open your eyes to understanding art before you start applying all that stuff to specific skills.
The base fundamentals
Yes. Yeah.
down to a T. I imagine. And then once you feel like you're ready, I guess you would join the animation degree.
Well, once you go through foundation, I guess you would get a feeling of what interests you or what are you good at, and you could use that information to make a decision on what kind of career path, right, appeals to you.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be filmmaking? Is it going to be animation? Is it, if you're more like people inclined, you want to go more into like advertising and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You, in a way, you find yourself. You find yourself, right? You
Yeah.
find what are you made
Soul
for?
search.
Yeah, isn't that the whole point of university?
That's the
Yeah.
whole search of
Yeah.
university, yeah.
Yeah.
Making friends, soul searching,
Yeah,
finding your
true.
purpose in life.
Yep.
On to our last question now.
Okay.
How do you balance teaching technical skills with fostering creativity in your students?
How do you balance?
The soft and the hard.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. If you are creating digital art, there's no getting away from it. You do need to have the technical skills, right? Because no matter how good your ideas are, no matter how good your designs are, if you don't have a way to make them, right, no one will ever get to see that fantastic idea in your head. How to balance them? In my opinion, at least, I think the most important thing is base fundamentals. I'm sure we're talking about technical skills and stuff, right? But the
Mm.
important thing is not to get too hooked up on what software you're using, right? Or a certain way of doing things, right? Because those things change. They change over time. They change between where you're working or what project you're working on, right? So there's no point memorizing which buttons to
Yeah,
click,
which buttons to click.
yeah, where the menus are. It's more important to know why are you doing things, right? Or how are you doing things, or for what purpose.
In that software agnosticism.
Yeah. So if your base fundamentals are strong, you'll be more adaptable, more flexible. You can move between different software because they all are pretty similar, right? Just better at different things. But at least you'll know why you are trying to do all these things, and it will help you reach the final result. I mean, a good analogy of this would be like if you're a painter, right? You don't want to spend time thinking about the weight or length of the paintbrush, which animal you pluck the hairs from to make different stiffness of bristles, right?
Yeah.
You want to get down to making a good picture, right? A good picture, good painting.
Good painting.
Yeah, right?
You want to get to the
Yes.
the final process.
So the whole point of this is to get students to have a strong base fundamental and to get their skills up to a level, at least to the point where they stop fighting the software and they actually get down to making good art.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty interesting, guys, because
Mm.
I see some people they really get hard pressed on. Oh, I really need to know how to use the software. Oh, is this the industry? What the industry uses? I really need to get that. I need to learn that.
I mean, that's true to a certain degree, but it always helps to be flexible because you don't know where you're going to end up, who you're going to be working with, how people do things. So as long as you're able to move around and adapt yourself to all these different softwares or workflows, it makes you a lot more valuable, actually, right? You'll be able to move around a lot better.
And you have value in yourself
Yeah.
as an employee.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
They're not hiring you because you know how to animate in Maya, right?
Yeah.
They're hiring you because you know how to animate,
How
right?
to animate? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Industry changes overnight,
Yeah, true, all the time.
all the time. Is there anything else you wanted to add? To this?
Um,
Since we're on our last question.
Not really. I mean, you're feeding me the questions here. Yeah. But yeah, basically, for anyone out there who's thinking about getting into animation, just make sure you're getting into it for the right reasons. right? That you're in there because you want to become better at creating animation, right? Not because you think it's easier than something else or you're running away from another choice.
Running away from another
right?
choice.
Because that decision alone, you're in there because you want to be good at it. That's what will sustain you, right? Throughout the how many years of your program, right? Because like I mentioned, it is a lot of work, right? There's a lot of trial and error involved, experimentation, perhaps some long nights of figuring something out and working on something. But what will get you through that is the will to get better, right? The will to, the desire to be good at something.
I feel like going through all of this, I feel like MMU has given me a bit of, I wouldn't say an edge, just give me, set my expectations correct, I guess. Like from my experience with MMU, the animation program recently.
Yeah, spoiler alert, he's in my class.
Oh no, not sponsored. The first year, I feel it really sets your expectations. Because even though you're in the super program, you get your expectations correct. There's like another barrier inside where, oh, this is really actually what I want to do. And there's other people who are like, oh, maybe I'm more to the advertising program. And once you've gone through that, you actually see, yo, the industry. I really like doing this rigging thing. I really like doing this surfacing thing. VizDev. Personally, for me, I really like modeling, which is more on that sculpting stuff. But it really has opened my eyes.
Okay, that's good. Hope we're not too hard on you, right?
Oh,
There is a bar to meet. That by the time you get to by the time you're graduating, right? It's not that you're industry level, right?
yeah.
We lean more towards industry ready,
Ready.
right?
Yes.
Meaning you might not be all there, but the way you approach things, right? Your attitude towards things, how you learn or how flexible you are, right? And your base level is there and can be built on, right? That's where we're trying to get everyone.
The lecturers also help. Like the variety of lecturers, like say Miss Christina, she's really, she gives you that hard
Name drop.
Oh no!
Yeah.
She gives you that edge in knowing, oh, your story. Oh, this is what's bad. This is what's good, and it shows you. Oh, so this is where my limit is. Oh, I need animation is a collaboration. That's what she said.
Yeah, it is. It's always a team sport.
So it's a team
Yeah.
sport. Exactly.
It's very rarely that someone does everything all on their own, unless they're made of money or something, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, coming back to staff, it's good that we have, I mean, in our program at least, right? All our staff members are like industry experienced stuff, right? Just sharing their experiences and knowledge down, right? So it's like practical knowledge, right? That can be useful, not just learning from the textbooks, right? So we're glad that we have all our staff members are experienced and not just coming from an academic setting, but from a professional setting
Professional
as well.
setting, yeah.
But many of them are still very involved in the industry and constantly learning new things and imparting them to the students.
I've seen even a lecturer left MME for a bit, went to the industry for a while, and he came back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, same here. I mean, I left for a while, then came back for full time. Yeah, yeah.
I think that's all for.
Okay.
I want to ask you.
Great. Yeah.
Thank you for your time here today. That's all today for the faculty's podcast for FCM session. See you in MMU.
All right.
All right.